So I guess the Cultural Revolution in Canada is moving full speed ahead. Here's the headline: Empty shelves with absolutely no books. Students, parents question school board's library weeding process. It says books published in 2008 or earlier removed from the school library amid confusion around new equity based process. So the woke school board is getting rid of everything that they don't think is equity enough. Or, in other words, Marxist enough. Harry Potter, The Hunger Games, and Roll of Thunder, Hear Me Cry. Those are all examples of books that Reina Takata says she can no longer find in her public high school library in Mississauga, Ontario, which she visits on her lunch hour most days. Quote, "This year, I came into my school library and there are rows and rows of empty shelves with absolutely no books." She estimates that more than 50% of her school's library books are gone. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about. I'm sure that woke school board will fill those shelves back up with, the Communist Manifesto and pornography. In the spring, Takata says students were told by the staff that, quote, "If the shelves look emptier right now, it's because we have to remove all books published prior to 2008. So, removing all books prior to 2008. I wonder why that would be. I mean, is that just an arbitrary year they picked? Or, what started happening 10, 15 years ago? Is there something that started happening? Was there some sort of influence that was starting to suffuse everything, cultural and academic, around that time? I wonder. Made me think about the Four Olds. What were the Four Olds? It was a term used during the Cultural Revolution by the student-led Red Guards in the People's Republic of China, in reference to the pre-communist elements of Chinese culture they attempted to destroy. The Four Olds were old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits. Any of this sounding familiar to any of you? Well, apparently the school board says that the new process, intended to ensure library books are inclusive, appears to have led some schools to remove thousands of books solely because they were published in 2008 or earlier. Hold on a second. So, old ideas, old culture. I also ran across this. Concordia. Concordia launches a plan to decolonize and indigenize its curriculum and pedagogy. The 5-year initiative will recenter Indigenous voices, histories, and ways of doing across the university. So, aside from the fact that, how do you decolonize engineering or mathematics? It sounds like a good way to get bridges to collapse and planes to fall out of the sky. And this ways of doing, what does that even mean exactly? But one thing that strikes me in this is the 5-year initiative. Really? So 5-year plan? Like in the Soviet Union and like in communist China? I don't know. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Are you? Let's see. Pedagogy. What does that mean again? Well, that's the method and practice of teaching, especially as an academic subject or theoretical concept. But I think we all know what's really happening here is critical pedagogy, a philosophy of education that encourages students to be critical towards their reality, its power structures, contradictions, and flaws. In short, it's training kids to be revolutionaries. Just like the Cultural Revolution in China. How do you do it? Well, you got to destroy the old ideas, the old culture, the old customs, and the old habits. Those things are all reactionary. They're counter-revolutionary. Could that be a reason to ban books published in 2008 or earlier? To disconnect kids from the fact that people ever thought differently than their teachers do? Those books might have some pesky counter-revolutionary ideas in them. Really best that they just read things that have been written in the woke era. But let's go back to this campaign to destroy the Four Olds in China. The renaming campaign. That sound familiar? Renaming roads and buildings? This ringing any bells? How about vandalizing public sites? Maybe things like statues. There's nothing more counter-revolutionary than the wrong statue. So, look, we're at the point now where you've got Canadian schools banning books published before 2008. They're not doing it because they're dog-eared. They're doing it obviously because it might impede their indoctrination. If you just change the names in this, right? This could just be a story about the Chinese Cultural Revolution. This is in plain sight at this point. I don't know what more evidence we need. The playbook is easy here. Sever children from their past, from their own parents. Justin Trudeau's a big fan of keeping parents in the dark about what's happening to their kids at school. The purpose of it all is to simply brainwash your kids. And the sooner we can start a 5-year plan to de-brainwash them, the better. Anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.